Hey guys, I'm in here now because it's raining really bad outside, so you can probably hear me a bit better. But concluding our from where we left off for part two of my trip to Cedar Point. Every time I look on my screen, there's something on it, and I have to wipe it off. And after Jim and I, we went to Top Thrill Dragster. We got in line. The line wasn't too bad. It was we had to wait a long time. Just the main reason was because it literally, what happened is a funny story because, well, it breaks down all the time based on what people have told me. It's not the most reliable coaster. And that is very true because we were in line. We were we were closer to the front of the line. We were getting there, and it broke down. They couldn't launch the train that was on the launch track, and they had to get people off in the train that were in the station. They had to back it up, and they had to back up the train that was on the launch, get people off, and they had to test the magnetic brakes over and over again. And they were taking such a long time doing it that we left, and we were like, hey, it's probably not good. We didn't think it would be opening for a while. We literally waited there for like 20 minutes, and they were still having issues. So, gosh, it's being weird. But, oh my gosh. But, okay, that's really weird. I don't know what that is. Okay. Sorry about that, but, I don't know what that is. I'm literally wiping stuff off the screen, and it's messing with that, but okay. So, we, got out of line and decided we might do this later because when we were at Top Dog Jackson, we saw Gatekeeper going, so we were going to go to Gatekeeper and then do some stuff at the front and then come back. But as soon as we left the line, they opened it back up again, and we ran back into the line, and the line wasn't very long because a lot of people left, so we got around the same spot as we were, and it broke down again as soon as we got there, which was very funny. But it didn't break down nowhere near as long. They opened it back up in like 10 minutes, and then we got to ride it, and it was a really great coaster. Probably the most intense launch I've ever had. You go from 0 to 120 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds, and it feels like that. You literally go flying down that track, and you have no idea what's going on. Everything is passing by you so fast you can't even comprehend the speed. You go through it boom. In real life, it feels much faster. It feels like you get to the end of the launch track in person faster than it does on video. And then because you're going over so quickly, you go over 420 feet in the air, which makes it the second tallest coaster in the world. But because you're so focused on the launch that you're basically almost blacked out or grayed out. By the time you get to the top is when you clear up your vision, and you're trying to take everything in, and then all of a sudden you're just dropping, so you barely even realize that you're 420 feet. So if you're scared of heights, it isn't that bad. A Millennium Force is probably the worst coaster at Cedar Point. That or Valraven or Steel Vengeance or something. If you're scared of heights, don't ride those. But I think you'd be okay with Top Thrill Dragster if you're scared of heights, just because you go over it the top quickly, and you don't even realize how high you are when you're up there. But because it's so short, it's not the best coaster. It was probably my number 3 or something. But great. It was so intense. So after that, we went to Gatekeeper. We did go to Gatekeeper after that. Because my stepdad really likes Wild Eagle at Dollywood, so I thought he would really enjoy this one. And we rode it. It was fun. The vest restraints really kill your chest and waist bone a lot, but especially towards the end of the ride. But the inversions were good. The keyhole towers going through those near misses were really cool, and the wing over drop is awesome. And it's right next to the beach and everything. But it's not too forceful though, so it was a fun coaster. I'd say it's probably my least favorite of the 4 B&M coasters at the park, just because it's not very intense and the vest restraints lock hard on your chest and stuff. But it's still really fun. So after Gatekeeper, we went to Valraven, I think. Yeah, we went to yeah, we went to Valraven after Gatekeeper because Raptor was closed. So we rode Valraven, and Valraven I definitely like more than Gatekeeper because of the drop, and it has vest restraints, but the vest restraints are more comfortable than the ones on Gatekeeper, but they still kind of suffocate you a little bit. And it was only really when we were on the brake run where I was starting to feel the pressure on my like waist and stuff. But great drop, one of the best, probably the best drop at Cedar Point, or one of the best drops at Cedar Point, because we were on the front row on an edge seat, and it's crazy. You don't even feel like you're on the track. You feel like you're just dropping in like the air, like you're literally just surrounded by air. By air as you're going down that drop. And the 0G roll at the end is cool, and that second drop is good as well, but I like how they hang you to add the suspense as you're going over. I imagine the two other dive coasters in America, Griffin and Sheikah, based on POVs, they look like they hang you over the top longer, and I think because they have normal over-the-shoulder restraints that you'd feel even more of a weightless feeling on the drop, so I think I would probably like those more for the drop, but this one is still great. You get it faces the other side where the beach is, so you get a great view of it. And amazing ride. And then after that, we rode Blue Streak because it's right next to it. And Blue Streak was a really fun wooden coaster. I was going into it thinking it's just going to be like a wooden coaster, but it was actually funner than I thought it would be. And it's so much smoother than Scream Machine, which is another wooden coaster I've ridden. And Scream Machine is at my home park, Six Flags Over Georgia, and Blue Streak is older than Six Flags Over Georgia is. It's older than Scream Machine. It's the oldest coaster currently operating at Cedar Point, and it doesn't feel like it's that old. It feels so, I mean, it's rickety because classic wooden coasters like that are going to be rickety and bumpy, but it's not that bad. It's really good. It gave some good airtime, too. And, this is a fun, relaxing wooden coaster straight out and back. And then after that, we took our last ride of the day, and we rode Millennium Force in the very front row in the evening. And my gosh, it was one of the most exhilarating rides I've ever had on a coaster. It felt the wind in your face on the front row was so crazy. It's actually intense in the front row, I'd say. And those tunnels are amazing. And the view is by far the best view out of any coaster at Cedar Point. And you do get covered in bugs. I had a bug right on my forehead because it's next to the water. That's a breeding ground for all types of insects and everything. There's a bunch of bugs that hang around that area. Apparently, there's not as much as there was a few years ago, but we still got covered. It was funny. And it didn't hurt as much as the rain did, but I'll talk about the rain when we get to the next day. The next day, it was another cloudy day. It rained like when we got into the park, and we were walking. It rained as soon as we got there, but then like the first day. But then it stopped, and we got in line for Raptor, and we rode Raptor in the front row, I think, and it was really intense. I still liked Valraven more than it, but then recently I just swapped them because Raptor just is so whippy. One of my favorite inverted coasters I've done, tied with Afterburn at Carowinds. Because Afterburn at Carowinds, the thing about Raptor is it has a mid-course brake run that kind of slows down, but Afterburn, it doesn't have one, so it's non-stop the whole ride, and it has a lot of cool tunnels and stuff, but Raptor is benefited from getting a better view of it because it's right next to Midway. Afterburner is very secluded, so it's harder to see it, but it has better theming than Raptor because of the plane theming. And Raptor has that super intense double helix. And my favorite inversion on Afterburn is the Batwing. I love the Batwing going into the tunnel, but my favorite inversion on Raptor is the 0G roll. The 0G roll on both of them are really whippy, so they're both really awesome. And I like them both better than Dragon Challenge at Universal because they don't dual freaking Dragon Challenge at Universal, and they tore it down and added the new Harry Potter roller coaster or something like that. What was it called? It was something. They replaced it, and I think it's open now. But and then they're obviously better than Batman at Six Flags Over Georgia. And Raptor was really fun. And then we went to the back and rode. We went into the history building they have, and we also rode the train. I think, yeah. I forgot to mention the previous day on Friday, the second day, we rode the train, and it was cool. You gave views of Millennium Force and stuff. Walker didn't have my stepdad didn't have a very good experience. He got hit in the face with like the smoke and stuff, and it hurt his eyes. But we went after we saw that cool history building. Gives good like historical facts and stuff about the park. We went and rode Maverick again in the back row, and the back row was even more insane and more aggressive than before. It felt like a freaking Bronco, like this meant for it to be. It feels like you're on a bull or something, just getting whipped from one side to the other. It's really an insane ride. It's just the restraints that I keep hitting my neck on the side, but it's really crazy. Going over the water, and that launch is really intense too. So, and then after that, we got in line for Steel Vengeance. We waited even longer in that line than we did the other time, and this time we rode in the back row, and I'm surprised they were running it. They were running it in the rain. It started raining when we got on it, and it was pouring, and they still ran it, and it was so insane. Best experience I had on an RMC. It was so crazy because in the back row, you get whipped over all the airtime hills, and the airtime is the best airtime on any coaster. All of it is ejector, except for those like first hills that are kind of floated, but you're in the back row, you get whipped over everything, and you got this rain hitting you. It felt like freaking airsoft, like it was just, or like a BB gun hitting you. It was so crazy. It hurt, but it was awesome at the same time. There's a picture on the slideshow video that I posted. It's it's the last picture on it where it shows us that's our on-ride photo of it in the rain. And it's just insane. It was a crazy experience, and that for me put it over the edge. Before the ride on front row, Millennium Force had it over Steel Vengeance from that ride, because the first ride on Steel Vengeance was really good, but this most previous ride on Steel Vengeance made it the best coaster there. So and then after that, we decided to do the walk around the Frontier area, and we got to experience Frontier. At Forbidden Frontier Adventure Island, and we didn't really interact with the characters because my stepdad didn't want to, but we walked around, checked out the area, and it was cool. They have this weird thing where you have to, this weird path where you have to pull yourself on this raft-looking thing to get to the other side. They have this big, jungle gym thing, this rope course thing in the middle, and it's insane, and you come very close to Millennium Force. Goes all around you, so you go literally underneath Millennium Force, and it's so crazy when the train passes over and around you. Gives you great views of Millennium Force's layout. And then after that, we went back towards the front where you're heading out, and because we were passing right by Raptors, literally right there near the front, we were going to decide to try to ride it again. When we got in line, and it wasn't raining. By the way, as soon as we got off Steel Vengeance, it stopped raining. So, and what's funny is it stopped raining, and it wasn't raining the whole time when we were just walking around, but it started to rain as soon as we got to Raptor. This is perfect timing. It started to rain as soon as we got into a key line, and they did close down Raptor, and so we just left the park. So we would have gotten a second ride on Raptor, but unfortunately we didn't, and we left. Still had great fun that day. That ride on Steel Vengeance was amazing, and we left the park on a good note, and that's our experience. And we stayed at the hotel one more time, and we flew back. We woke up even earlier that morning to come back, and it was a great experience. I need to get this outro going, and it was a safe flight, so I had a great time, one of the best amusement parks I've been to, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you've been to Cedar Point, your experiences there. Bye.